reverse engineer reality so it bends to your will. Now, most of you are playing the manifestation game completely backwards, and that's why 98% of people stay stuck in the same cycle forever. You're looking at your bank account and using that to determine if you feel abundant. You're looking at your relationship status and using that to determine if you feel loved. You're looking at your business results and using that to determine if you feel successful. But here's what I need you to understand. That's like trying to change the temperature in your house by yelling at the thermometer. The thermometer isn't creating the temperature, it's just reflecting it. Same with your circumstances. They're not creating your reality, they're just reflecting your internal state. See, reality isn't this fixed thing that happens to you. Reality is a malleable field that's constantly responding to your internal state. And when you see the people who seem to have that magic touch where money flows to them, opportunities appear out of thin air, everything just works out in the end, they figure out how to reverse engineer this entire process. Instead of waiting for circumstances to change so they can feel different, they feel different first and force circumstances to catch up. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how this works and how you can use it to make reality bend to your will instead of the other way around. Let's get straight into it. First point, the backwards game. See, here's the thing most of you don't understand about how reality actually works. You exist on 3 planes simultaneously, right? Spiritual plane, mental plane, physical plane. Most people are stuck operating from the physical plane, which is actually the lowest form of consciousness. You can conceptualize this as reality, which is what we touch, taste, touch, smell, see, hear. What our 5 senses, what our ego can conceptualize. The physical plane is the realm of effect. The mental plane is the realm of cause. And the spiritual plane is where infinite opportunities exist. When you try to change your physical circumstances to feel different internally, you're trying to change an effect by manipulating another effect. That doesn't make any sense because an effect can never change an effect. Only a cause can change an effect. That's why the 7 Hermetic principles from the ancient mystics even have the law of cause and effect from the Kabbalion, which states that every cause has its effect and every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to the law. And what we call chance, it's merely an unrecognized law. That's a crazy deep quote, so note that. This is why people work their asses off and still stay broke. This is why people chase relationships and still feel unloved. This is why people hustle 24/7 and still feel unsuccessful. They're working backwards. I mean, if you're anything like me, you must have seen hardworking people growing up, especially your family, right? For the longest time, I was like, hey, how come these people I see work 60 hours a week are forever 2 steps behind reality? We might hear people say it's because they're stupid or smart people win. But here's the truth most people cannot accept. This line right here, this is gonna basically defies everything you have learned. It is the limits of your belief that limits what you can experience in reality. Your parents worked 60 hours plus a week, but still stayed broke because their beliefs about money, success, and what's possible were limited. And those same belief limits are what's keeping you stuck. Well, the correct interpretation should be they're out of alignment with your universal flow. And as long as you're out of alignment, you will always suffer. The people who seem invincible, who get hit with the same problem as everyone else, but always land on their feet, they have learned to operate from cause instead of an effect. Instead of letting the circumstances dictate their internal state, they flip the script, right? When reality shows them problems, they respond with solutions. When the external world reflects scarcity, they maintain an internal frequency of abundance. They have learned that what you feel internally always becomes what you experience externally. That shift right there is the difference between playing victim to your circumstances and becoming the creator of your experiences. Section 2, the frequency first principle. This brings me to what I call the frequency first principle. This is the core of reverse engineering your reality. Think of your consciousness like a magnet, right? This is a piece of magnet. if you couldn't tell from my drawing. Whatever frequency you're vibrating at, that's what you're going to attract into your experience. You're literally magnetizing experience that match your internal state. Most people are working around with the magnet of, I don't have what I want yet. And then they wonder why they keep magnetizing more experience of not having what they want. But when you reverse engineer this process, you start magnetizing the frequency of already having what you want. You embody the energy of the person who's already living your desired reality. Now, this is not fake it till you make it. There's a huge difference. Fake it till you make it, what does that mean, right? It is pretending to be something you're not. Frequency first is recognizing that you already are the person who has what you want. You're just not embodying that version of yourself yet. See, from the quantum physics perspective, right? Every possible version of your life exists right now in what scientists call the field of the infinite potential. The wealthy version of you exists. The successful version of you exists. The loved version of you exists. And so does the broke version, the struggling version. It's like having access to every movie ever made, but you can only watch one at a time. Your frequency is the remote control that determines what movie of your life you're experiencing. Your job isn't to create these realities because they're already there. Your job is to tune your frequency to the reality you want to experience. And you do that by using what we all have, the heart and the brain, which together, it creates what we call the electromagnetic field. Now, here's how this works, right? You use your brain to send electrical signal to send out to the parallel universe, which is another way of saying the quantum field where everything exists. There's an infinite amount of potential of you, right? And you use your heart as a magnet to pull that reality into your current reality. That's why thoughts and emotion needs to be aligned. You can't just think, I want $1 million and feel like shit. That's only activating half of the electromagnetic field. Your heart, your feelings, your emotions, your intuition needs to be aligned with the particular thought you have, so you're vibrating at the frequency of your desire to pull it towards you. People always say, be magnetic, don't chase. But they never break this down. Well, now you know. This is what the ancient text means when they talk about acting as if it's already done. Not because you are delusional, but because on the level of consciousness, it is already done. You're just catching up to it physically. Point number 3, the identity shift. Here's where it gets practical. To reverse engineer reality, you need to understand that you're not trying to get something. You're trying to become someone. So I'm trying to get this money and stuff. Get that out of your head. We don't use that word from now on. We use this word over here, okay? Become. Most people are focused on the having. I want to have $1 million. I want to have the perfect relationship. I want to have a successful business. But the universe doesn't respond to what you want to have. The universe responds to who you are being. So instead of asking, how do I get this thing? You need to ask, who do I need to become to naturally attract this thing? When I was stuck making content that nobody watched, I was operating from the identity of struggling content creator. My self-concept was, I'm the guy who makes good content, but nobody sees it, right? So that was the default setting, right? Because you hear so many people saying different things before you try one thing. And you do so much research and let their facts determine your state of consciousness. Like Mr. Beast, for example. He says something like, your first 100 or 500 videos are going to be shit, and nobody will watch them. And guess what? Reality reflected back to me. Exactly that. Now, is it true? Yeah. But does it have to be true in your reality? No. It only becomes true if you keep prompting it with your conscious mind to your subconscious mind. Because you can pick an entirely different prompt, like, I'm just gifted at this thing I'm trying out. What takes other people years to do will take me 1/10 of the time to complete, etc. You don't have ideas. Ideas have you. The unfortunate part about the universal system is that either you program yourself or be programmed by others. You need to make a decision about which one you want. So then I started reverse engineering my identity. Instead of waiting for the views to feel like a successful creator, I started being a successful creator first. I kid you not. I would literally watch my own videos and be like, damn, this guy's spitting bars, facts, he's so special, stuff like that. And I started embodying that version of myself before I had the external results. When I make content, I wasn't making it from, I hope this works. I was making it from, I'm already successful. This is just me sharing my knowledge, right? When I talk to potential clients, I wasn't coming from, please work with me, I need the money, please. I was coming from, I'm here to serve. Take it or leave it. That shift in identity changed everything because I stopped trying to change my circumstances to feel different, right? I started feeling different first, and my circumstances had no choice but to match that new frequency. Point 4, practical application. So how do you actually do this, right? How do you practically reverse engineer your reality? Let me break it down to you step by step so you can take this with you and start implementing. First, you need to make your internal state more important than your external reality, or greater. That's a prerequisite. First step. This is non-negotiable. As within, so without. As above, so below. Your mind is like the soil, right? And your thoughts are like the seeds. Your outer world is like the harvest. You're out here trying to shake the tree when you really should be feeding the roots, not the harvest part. The harvest is like the effect, right? You don't multiply fruit by picking. You multiply it by planting. Your bank account doesn't determine your abundance. Your abundance determines your bank account. Your relationship status doesn't determine your lovability. Your lovability determines your relationship status. See, the great Stephen Covey once said, seek first to understand than to be understood. But most people do the opposite with reality. They want reality to understand their desires without first understanding how reality actually works. You need to understand the law of consciousness before you can expect reality to respond to you. I don't care if you're broke right now. I don't care if you're single right now. I don't care if your business is struggling right now. Those are just temporary external conditions, which is here. How do you change your harvest, right? How do you actually change your harvest? They have nothing to do with who you actually are. Every morning before I check my phone, before I look at my bank account, before I let the external world tell me who I am, I connect with the frequency of my desired reality. I feel into the version of myself that's already successful, already abundant, already living the life I want. And from that state, then I take action. So from that frequency, I make decisions. From that energy, I show up in the world. This is what I mean by frequency first, action after. You establish the internal state first, then you move from that place. Second, you need to reverse engineer your identity of the person who already has what you want. So this word right here, how do you reverse engineer identity? You first need to get clarity of desires. Not what you think you should want, but what you actually desire. Write it down, get specific, right? For example, you want to make $50,000 a month. Then ask yourself, who is the version of me that already has this? How do they think? How do they feel? How do they show up to the world? What are their daily habits? What's their energy like? If the $50K a month version of you means you wake up at 8 a.m., have a great morning routine, take care of your appearance, your loved ones, and have a good temper, you do that shit now, consistently. No more of this, when I hit my goal, then I will do that. Nah, I do all that so my goal will come to me. That's how you have to recalibrate your mind. And start embodying that version of yourself now. Because the only time that exists is now. Not when you get the results, not when you have proof. Now. Can't stress this enough. Point number 5, the resistant phase. Now, I'm going to keep it real with you, right? Now, you start reverse engineering reality like this, you are going to hit resistance, no exceptions. Your old identity, your ego, your subconscious programming, it's all going to fight back. This happened to me big time, right? When I started embodying the energy of success before I had external proof, my mind went crazy. Who do you think you are? You're still struggling. This is delusional. Haha, dumbass. All that shit. But here's what I learned from my lessons, right? That resistance is actually a good sign. Here's what I mean by this, right? It means you're breaking out of your old patterns. It means you're expanding beyond your comfort zone. It means you're actually changing. See, resistance is behind the persistence of all existence, from Howard Falco. The resistance you feel isn't trying to stop you. It's the very force that's going to make your new reality permanent. Remember that. Without resistance, nothing would stick. The resistance is actually creating the persistence of your new identity. The key here is not let resistance pull you back into your old frequency. You have to stay committed to your new identity, even when the external world hasn't caught up yet. This is what I call the bridge period. The time between when you shift internally and when your reality reflects that shift externally. Most people give up during this period. They're like, oh, I want to come here. Oh, I'm almost there. Oh, fuck, everything is going wrong. And then they go back to their old frequency because they think it's not working. But let me tell you right now, it is working. Reality is always working. It's just that there's a lag time between the cause and effect. In between that, there's a lag time, right? Between the mental plane and the physical plane. And this lag time is actually to protect you, not work against you. See, I never see this being talked about anywhere else, but I want to make it clear to you. If you had a bad thought like, oh, am I going to get hit by a car tomorrow when I go out, right? I'm not saying you do, but just an example. And that it manifested instantly tomorrow, boom, you actually get hit by a car. Imagine what your life would look like. Exactly. The lag time is like the universe making sure you're locked into that desire. It's like in a bidding auction, right? There's going once, going twice, and then sold. Once you are locked in with what you want with clarity, it's now going once and twice before it's sold to you, which is your new frequency, your new reality. Oh, also, there's no such thing as submitting your bid and then backing out during the countdown, right? So yeah, same with you. You can't just wake up the next morning and go, yeah, this is bullshit. Never mind. You have to persist. So during this bridge period, your job is to maintain your frequency no matter what. Your job is to keep embodying the new identity no matter what the external world is showing you. Point number 6, the quantum leap. Here's the beautiful thing about reverse engineering your reality. When it finally clicks, when it finally embodies this new way of being, the changes happens fast, like quantum leap fast, right? For me, it was like a switch flipped. One day I was struggling, making content nobody watched. The next day, opportunities were flowing, clients were reaching out, and everything was clicking. But it wasn't magic. It was the natural result of aligning my internal frequency with my desired external reality. Most people call this luck, right? Especially when we become successful and stuff, we just start to hear people say like, you're lucky. But luck is the concept that our mind uses to help compensate for the discrepancy in reality experience. I'll say that again. Luck is the concept that mind uses to help compensate for the discrepancy in reality experiences. When your internal reality finally matches your external desires, what looks like luck to others is actually perfect alignment to you. When you're operating from the right frequency, you start noticing opportunities that were always there but couldn't see them before. You start attracting people, situations that matches your new energy. You start making decisions from abundance instead of scarcity. And because you're no longer attached to the outcome, because you already feel successful internally, you show up differently. You're more confident, more relaxed, more magnetic. People can feel that energy and they want to be around it. This is what I mean when I say reality has no choice but to bend. It's not what you're forcing anything. It's that you have aligned yourself with the natural flow of consciousness and everything starts moving in your favor. The universe doesn't care if you're a nice person. The universe doesn't care if you deserve it. The universe only responds to your frequency. And when you learn to control your frequency, you learn to control your reality. Point number 7, the final truth. Look, most people will never do this work because it requires you to take full responsibility for your reality. It requires you to stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the creator of your experiences. It's easy to blame the economy, blame your parents, blame your circumstances. It's harder to look in the mirror and realize that you have been the one creating a reality all along through your frequency, your identity, and your internal state. But once you get this, once you really embody this, you become invincible. You realize that you're not here to fit into reality. Reality is here to bend to you. You stop chasing your desires and start having them to chase you. You stop trying to force circumstances to change and start changing the consciousness that creates the circumstances. This is the difference between playing the game of life and mastering it. And here's my challenge for you, right? Stop playing the manifestation game forwards. Stop waiting for the circumstances to change before you feel different. Start reverse engineering your reality. Start with your internal state first. Embody the frequency of who you want to become and watch how fast the external world starts to match that energy. And remember, the successful version of you, the abundant version of you, the loved version of you, they all exist right now in the field of infinite potential. Your job is just to tune into that frequency to the reality you want to experience and stay to materialize in your experience. And trust me, when it does, you will never want to play the game any other way. By the way, if you're an entrepreneur stuck at a revenue ceiling and want to break through by working with me one-on-one, link in the description to book a call. Until next time, remember, you're not here to fit into reality. Reality is here to bend to you.